Welcome to Conversations. My name is Suresh Kochattil. Delimitation is a hot topic these days. Ask any politician down south or down north or up north and down south, they all have the same opinion about delimitation. Of course, the opinions vary from DMK in the south to Samajwadi Party in the north to RJD and of course BJP. But what is delimitation all about and how does it impact the electoral fortunes of the major parties in our country? The last delimitation technically was done in 1971. After the 1971 census, that's what I meant. But since then, we don't have anything done because 76 is when it actually happened, delimitation. But since then, it has been frozen at 530 odd seats. But today, India's population has changed dramatically. Some states have done well in reducing the population, others have not done so. So there is this debate as to who should be punished and who should be rewarded. To speak about all that and more, we have with us one of India's best political analysts, Giridhar Mamidi ji, and he will try and kind of have a conversation with him to understand where this all is leading up to. Welcome, sir.
Namaskar. Namaste, Suresh ji. Namaste.
So, Giridhar ji, to put it in a layman's language, there is a country, there is a population, then there is a voting population, and there are set number of constituencies. Of course, when we started, I remember when I was reading about when we became independent, and after that when we became a republic, the number of seats were slightly less than what we had right now, and then it kept increasing, and 76 is when it finally stopped. And after that, somebody developed a cold feet, they didn't want to take it up further. But now the issue is back on the front burner and we don't know what will really happen, whether we'll wait for the census of 2025-26 to happen and then the delimitation is coming up. But just take us through that route about what you feel is right or wrong about delimitation.
Suresh, thanks for inviting me for this chat. First, I'm not too sure whether we got independence in 1947. Let me start. Okay. I tend to call it transfer of power because Lord Mountbatten transferred power from right hand to left hand. Right. He was Governor General reporting to the Queen on 14th of August. Again, he was Governor General of so-called, quote-unquote, independent India, reporting to Queen again. Because a dominion state was created.
That's correct. I remember that.
Right. So, let's call it Swapalana. Right. We just had our flag instead of the Union Jack. And then on 26th January 1950, we got a constitution. Yes. But did we get independence? $1 million question. Because when we are talking about census, when we are talking about delimitations, when we are talking about electoral system, this is just verbatim copied from the British system.
Yes, sir.
So in UK, at least in those days, of course, today it's a different world there in UK as well. After this illegal immigrations and what have you. There also now they have significant challenges, and officially I think a couple of years back UK's population, Christian population has gone below 50%.
I was hearing a report yesterday about something happening in Bradford where the population, the whites have drastically come down and the Pakistani population has exploded like anything. Anyway,
absolutely. So let's assume in 45, 47 in those days when Winston Churchill was contesting or Clement Attlee won. Those days, at least the demography was predominantly Anglo-Saxon, white Protestant population across the country, right? No difference. Including Northern Ireland, they were also Protestant. Maybe they have slight language, nuances. Maybe the way they pronounce it slightly different, but more or less they were all the same. So, what are they contesting for? The population is same. It's just that should the economy be run by the government or by the market forces. That's the only difference. Whether Tories or Whigs, except this, they don't have any other difference, right? So, if that formula is applied onto an extremely diverse nation like Bharat, then it's going to cause problems. Not just, we have diversity in every state, we have diversity in every village.
True.
Right? You have demographic changes, demographic differences. You have migrants. I mean, migrations happen. For instance, Marwadis you see in Kerala to Kanyakumari to Nagaland, you find Marwadis everywhere.
That's true.
Right? Same thing with Punjabis. Same thing with, maybe people from South, the Tamilians, Telugu, Malayali, Kannada. You see in North, almost every major industry, these guys are there.
Correct.
So every village we are having a diverse kind of a population. Second, there are some sections of a country went completely unrepresented in the model of electoral system that we adopted. Let's take a few examples. Let's look at, what did British do? British chopped off certain homogeneous populations and created these two countries, right? Pakistan and Bharat. Bengalis were cut, Kashmiris are cut, Punjabis are cut, but the only state which was not cut was Sindh. 100% of Sindh was given to the Pakistan. So what has happened? There is a huge significant population of Hindus in Sindh. They are now, they're all settled in various parts of the country. They go completely unrepresented. There's no representation for them anywhere.
Correct.
Look at the Kashmiri Hindus, right? Especially post 90s when they're displaced. Today they can't even elect a single, municipal councillor or, their population is so completely dispersed. A whole bunch of people are going unrepresented. Look at Gorkhas. You made them part of West Bengal. What say do they have in West Bengal Assembly?
That's true.
Right? They kept on asking for a separate state for so long a time, nobody considered it. Right? And SS Ahluwalia ji was winning there.
Gorkha
he doesn't
land.
belong there.
Gorkha land.
Yeah, and he used to win from there. You can imagine, they form a significant backbone of our army, Gorkhas. So should you not give them certain representation? Same, it goes in every parts of the country. For instance, in Telugu states, you decided everybody is going to be a Telugu guy. Right? But not the case. You have Gonds, you have Lambadas, you have so many other representations, they are getting unrepresented. But what did you do? You gave 2 seats in your upper house at least as a nominated positions for Anglo-Indians. Who are Anglo-Indians? They are Indians, that's it, period. If you are an Indian, you are an Indian, and end of story, right? Even Mughals were, we can say, kind of Turkic Indians, right?
Correct, they came from there.
Saif Ali Khan's parents, their forefathers came from Afghanistan. So you should call him Afghan Indian, right? So this is nonsense. That's how your electoral system, your people representation was devised at that time. Then came another nonsense called language-based state reorganization. Leave out the cow belt, Hindi-speaking belt. The rest of it, you said one language, one state, right?
Correct.
Odisha is one single state. Maharashtra, Marathi-speaking is one state. And of course, the rest of the states in the south. Then suddenly you wake up in 2014 and split a Telugu state into 2, Telangana and Andhra, right? Why hasn't that happened to Karnataka? Why hasn't that happened to Maharashtra? Right? True. Maharashtra is a much larger state compared to the United Andhra Pradesh. So it has been an ad hoc approach. So what has happened in the last 70 and odd years is a certain power centers have been created based on language, regionalism, and some purported injustice done to people, right? All these things happened over a period of time. The original idea was for every 10 lakhs you have an MP.
Correct.
And today where are we? Look at Malkajgiri. Close to 40 lakh people are there in one constituency, whereas in Ladakh less than 1.5 lakhs. Both are sitting and voting, have the same voting right in parliament. Is this representative?
People are not getting the justice. That is what you mean.
They're not getting represented. They don't have their voice heard in your parliament, in your assemblies, for the quantum of population they have. So for our country, which is extremely diverse and we celebrate our diversity, you should have had a different electoral system altogether. This population based doesn't work. As I said, it works perfectly in a homogeneous society like UK, where every constituency you have white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant population. So it's very easy for them. But when you come to this kind of a thing, you're going to have a challenge. You look at the borders of every state. If you go to the eastern border of Karnataka, you look at Ballari, you look at Raichur, huge Telugu population is there.
Correct.
You go to Adilabad, you go to Bodhan, you have huge Marathi population, right? Same is the case in Raigada in Odisha, huge Telugu population, right? How are they getting represented? They can't teach their own language, right? They have no representation. You have a lot of issues. The problem is, again, another model we put is first man past the post. You said he's a winner, and others you are saying is a loser. This concept of binary is very Western, or let me put it, Abrahamic, right?
Okay.
It's a binary. For us, it has to be consensual. It has to be the opinion of a large number of people. It's just not that I got one vote more than you, so I'm a winner. What happens to the represented views of the rest of the people? Look at Asaduddin Owaisi. He gets about 32% of the votes of Hyderabad. And then he goes to the parliament and he opposes the reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir. Right? But is it the opinion of 68% of the population? May not be. Right? I mean, this argument can go either way. Even Modi ji is probably one with only 35% of the votes. It doesn't mean that 65% have accepted what he's saying. So this entire model itself is skewed. This doesn't work in a diverse society like us. But to the credit of our voters and our political system, we made an absolutely useless electoral system work for us.
In fact, that's what often said, that the party that wins Uttar Pradesh gets to rule Delhi. Is it because of the size of the number of seats? Yeah. It was 85, now it's 80 after Uttarakhand was spun off. But do you think this entire debate of Stalin and company, including Revant Reddy, including Siddaramaiah, Pinarayi Vijayan, that look, we did well in controlling our population, not didn't do well, and we are being punished for it. Punished in as much as the number of seats will not decrease, as Mr. Amit Shah had mentioned, that it will not decrease, but at the same time, proportionately the increase will be huge in UP. Now, just to give you a heads up on that is, in 1951, the population of Uttar Pradesh was 6 crores. So let us come to 71. That is when the census happened. And that is 76 when the first delimitation that happened that time. Technically, the big delimitation. UP's population was 8 crore 38 lakhs. 85 seats. Tamil Nadu at that point had half of it. 4 crore 11 lakhs. 8 crores and 4 crores. So, technically speaking, Tamil Nadu had 40 seats, including Pondicherry. Even Stevens, there is no problem as such. But since then, the population has kept decreasing in the south, percentage-wise, and UP and Bihar and Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan kept growing. 25%, 25%. It's only in the last two, at least in the 2011 census, that we see that UP's population has dipped by 5 percentage points to 20. And if you take UP's population presently at 22 crores, UP is seen further dip by another 10% to 10% now. So UP's growth, decadal growth is 10% ending in 22. Anyway, that census has not happened. So we are not having the final figures. But if you go by the voter list and other things, and if you extrapolate those figures, UP is also controlled, but not as much as South did. Your argument has been that, look, South has done well. Why punish them?
See, if somebody brushes out what Stalin is saying, what Siddaramaiah or Revant Reddy is saying, then we are being a little unfair to them. They have concerns, right? They may politicize it, right? For political rhetoric and other things could be there. But there is a genuine concern they have that they will go under, the representation percentage would go down in the overall scheme of the country. And people who are not behaving responsibly in terms of the HDI index, right? Your Human Development Index, which is the way you control your population, which is the way you, grew in your economic perspective. So many parameters, right? Your health, nutrition, mother's health, child health, the ability to grow your food. So many parameters are there. If you look at all these parameters, what happened is that South really did better than the North.
In fact, I'm looking at some of the figures that you had sent me, and the darks and the reds and the blues. I'm sure our editors can pull in those graphs later. But when you look at South, the total fertility ratio, which is something that you passionately argue about, saying that that is what we need to look at as one of the main parameters, not just the population per se, has been very low in the South, except for a couple of districts here and there. We have crossed the point of no return in some cases.
Yeah.
Which is a replacement ratio, which means the number of people are dying and the number of people are being born, that is also gone now. We are dipping drastically. But India's population is still at 140 crores, bigger than China. Why do you think that entire thing about Stalin's argument or the argument of other politicians that, look, don't kind of reward people who have not done well? You might also take the example of the GDP, the state GDP, the per capita income and all that. How do we take all this and make one big bismillah bath, if you can call it that way, or even make a khichdi out of it, and then say, okay, this is what we'll do for the next. What will you do if you are Amit Shah?
So, first thing I would do is I would not give a statement that you would have your proportional representation. A statement which he made was not warranted at all, because your census has not happened, your delimitation commission has not been appointed. When you are making such a statement, you are kind of sending out a message that look, we have some say in how to do the delimitation.
That is one point which I have just want to check with you. Constitutional body, can the union government dictate to the delimitation commission that this is what you need to do? Can they do it?
Obviously, they cannot. So, if you are making such a statement before a constitutional body has been formed, it raises doubts. So, when these chief ministers of the South are raising a question, obviously they have a point. So, there is no need for him to have made such a statement. He would have simply said, let the delimitation commission be formed, where even opposition has a stake in terms of they have a say who is going to be appointed there. Then let them do a professional study and then come up with their points of views. It is open for public, open for political parties, NGOs, whoever it is in the society to talk about it. Then a consensus could have been emerged. He should have simply said it is a duty of the constitutional body. So let them decide. I am nobody to decide. So probably that would have been a better approach is what I felt. The moment you say as a home minister that
the seats will not go down.
It will not go down. Then you are actually sending out a message that we are deciding how it's going to formalize, going to work. That was probably, if I was Amit Shah, I would have kept quiet on that. Second problem is, you spoke about TFR. Let me go a little deeper into the aspect of TFR. TFR is total fertility rate. It is a statistic which is worked out across the globe of how many children on an average women in her lifespan would produce. So the thing is 2.1 is a replacement rate. If in her lifetime...
Replacement means the number of children who are being born is equal or slightly more than the number of people who have died.
Average, assuming it's a stable, death rates or whatever you have, and your population is growing at 2.1 per women, then your population is going to be stable. The moment it goes below 2.1, your population start declining. Right? Now, here if it goes below 1.4, that can never be reversed. Between 1.4 child per woman in her lifetime to 2.1, it can still be reversed. If it goes below 1.4, that population can never be reversed.
Chandrababu Naidu says produce more kids.
Correct. Which is perfect, which is what we should do it. In fact, that is what even I think Giridhar Singh or somebody also said that. But of course, they gave a religious twist to it. Doesn't matter. Our population growth, this is not unique to our country. This is a common factor across the globe. The moment societies become more industrialized, more educated, and they move from the basic agricultural based economies to more industrialized base, obviously the population will go down. The number of children they produce goes down. When you are in a lower strata, what happens is you need more hands. This is nature, the nature of the devil is that.
To work in the fields and
Correct. So you need a larger population. So whereas as you go up, you don't need so many. And so what happens is all industrialized countries, you have the same problem. Look at Japan. Japan is gone. Japan can never be revived. And Japan, another problem is they are not even allowing immigration. Whereas in the West, in Europe, in US, at least Canada, there are immigrants who are coming in. Australia, there are immigrants who are coming in to replace, the shortage in their population. Whereas Japan is not even allowing it. How will it survive? Their TFR is, somewhere close to 1 or 1.1 or something like that.
And their elderly population is very, very high in terms of...
Absolutely. This is what is going to happen. And China isn't there. Now, China, of course, China claims about 1.2 or 1.3 is their TFR rate. But a lot of experts are saying it's 0.9. Right? They have announced that their population is less than our population 2 years back. But a lot of people say their population is not even 100 crores. It's probably between 800 to 900
because
crores.
They took that policy of having a single child or even no child policy for quite some time.
So that is, see, you're going against the nature. When you go against the nature, obviously you'll have to face the repercussions. You don't have to do anything to China. In 20 years from now, China is gone. They'll have no population to actually work in the factories. They'll have no population to man their borders, PLA. So what is going to happen? The elderly population is going to go up. There'll be nobody to take care of them.
Everybody will be in old age homes.
Correct. So, and your economy can't feed them. They can't take care of them. So where are you going to end up at? We are going towards that. Sadly, we are going towards that. But the TFR as it stands today for us, we probably have a window of around 20 to 30 years. Post 20, 30 years, we will also be in a very similar position as today China and Japan. We will also go down the road. We have a situation of 20, 30 years. Beyond that, we have a problem.
So, but when it comes to the electoral thing, Giridharji, quite often what we see is there should be, if you just take it plain vanilla, just based on the population, 10 lakh, every MP for 10 lakh, then Malkajgiri should have 4 MPs called by whatever name, Medchal, Malkajgiri, Alwal, whatever name, Bolarami, whatever you want to call it, Kudbalapura, whatever. But the point is simple, is that the only thing that should be taken into consideration? Are there other factors like you mentioned, you look at the per capita income, reward that, then you look at the fertility ratio. Is it going to be a mix and match of all these things that the union government should recommend to the Delimitation Commission?
So let's take the argument one at a piece. Suppose it's purely based on population, right? I'm incentivizing people who have been irresponsible, who have been producing more population but producing lesser output to the country, lesser wealth to the country. I'm going to incentivize them, right? This is exactly what is happening in the West today. Look at the kind of social security these illegal immigrants are getting at the cost of the taxpayers of the country, right? Which is exactly what is going to happen to us. You are going to feed certain states, which is the grouse of these states. Again, for us, when you're saying South, we need to talk about the South, which is actually the original term called Deccan or Dakshinapata, which is below either Vindhyas or Narmada. We shouldn't confine only to Telugu states, Kannada, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. No, it has to be Dakshinapata, which is your Maharashtra is included, parts of your Chhattisgarh, Odisha. You need to include these things. So this is Dakshinapata. So if you draw a line, Narmada or Vindhya line,
correct,
roughly 70% of our country's population is north of that line, right? And the South has generally been more, focused on industrialization, focused on service sector. You see the IT industry, most of it is in here. Even Maharashtra, you see most industrialized state in the country. So, and the industrial output of minerals in Odisha, and of course, the Telugu states which produced IT and whatever. So, this has been very focused in creating wealth. See, in a family, you cannot say husband is earning money, so wife is useless because she's not earning money.
Everyone has his role.
Everyone has a role. So, just because some states in North are unable to earn money, you cannot say, I'm not going to pay them. Because this is the argument we hear from these chief ministers from the South. We contribute 1 rupee, we get only 32 paise or 40 paise back. The rest is all being given to Bihar or somebody else. This is a lousy argument. In a family, it's a family. We have some weak links. There will be some parts of our body which are weak. There will be some which are strong.
You need to take care of them.
You need to pull them up, right? So the point is, all the political system today have a great incentive in trying to go by this so-called freebie culture. Unless you give something free, you won't get votes, you won't get power. So they are all incentivized, irrespective of the party, to stick to this norm. So what happens is, more the population, they get more incentives, more freebies. Lesser the population, the focus of the electoral politics is not that focused on you. This is a challenge we're going to face. The biggest crime people like Indira Gandhi and all did is they stopped the delimitation and increasing the seats in the parliament after 76. They should have continued it by now. Had they been doing it every 5 years, 6 years, they would have been doing it. We wouldn't have this problem at all.
Correct.
So then maybe they were only focusing on population. Still nobody would have cribbed. Today, the position is after 50 years you want to do something, obviously there is going to be resistance.
Even Vajpayee actually kind of...
He could have done it. He was faced with different problems. He had to run a coalition of some 13, 14 odd parties and one-man parties. So many problems he had. And people like Jayalalitha were maverick. And Mamata Banerjee, we know what all they did. So he was not in a position to really dictate these kinds of changes. Probably last 10 years, probably Modi ji could have done it. But he had his priorities. He had to first bring the economy onto the tracks, what happened in the 10 years of UPA. So he was focused on something else. And today we are the 5th largest economy. Rather, by the end of this year, we will be the 4th largest economy. We're going to kick Japan below. So the point is, everyone has their priorities, focus, right? Third term now is looking at this. Problem is, if you purely go by your population, then this problem is going to happen. Some pockets of the country which are more nuanced and which are more focused on wealth creation, in controlling populations, they are going to be left out. So you need to have multiple parameters in that. This is what I believe. One is HDI, Human Development Index, that their health of the people, their economy, their per capita, all this need to be factored in. And of course, the population itself. Third, one important parameter I would put it is, you need to incentivize wealth creators and taxpayers. Because it is with that money, you are able to offer freebies to the rest of them.
Mumbai should have 40 seats.
Probably, I don't know. The more wealth you are creating, the more you are contributing to the well-being of the country, to running this country, you need to have a higher representation.
Or take Hyderabad, for example. 75% of Telangana's GDP comes from Hyderabad.
Absolutely.
Technically the greater Hyderabad.
Absolutely.
That means the number of seats in Hyderabad should go up.
Absolutely. See, that should be a factor. I'm saying you need to factor.
Not the only one.
Not the only one. Population, your HDI includes your TFR, whether you're being responsible in your TFR, and then your the kind of tax or the kind of contribution you are doing to the wealth of this country. These three parameters have to be taken into consideration. If you don't do that, what happens is, we know that grasshopper ant story, right?
Yeah.
That is what going to happen. People who are slogging their butt out and producing wealth, people simply take their money off and then give free incentives, free iftars, what have you, and then they get the votes and they sit there. What happens to the incentive for people to really work? So today, look at the kind of freebies that any party or any government, whether state or center, has provided. Till from the time you're getting married till the death of your grandchild, everything is taken care by some freebie or not.
Correct.
Right? So, where is the incentive for people to work? The free food scheme or whatever Sonia Gandhi introduced in UPA, why should people go and work in the farms?
That's what.
Just sit there and the government has to give food at your doorstep.
One of the Supreme Court judges remarked that in his family that they can't find people to work in the fields.
Yeah.
But Giridhar, when you look at the bigger picture, because this is all about politics, end of the day. Okay, let's be very clear about it. Stalin has his own axe to grind. He feels that if UP gets more seats, if Bihar gets more seats, and the northern belt gets more seats, BJP has a better chance of winning there. So, the so-called India Alliance or even his friends will never be able to come to power. My question, I'd flip the other way around. If the performance of 2024 is repeated in UP, that means Congress has a better chance, isn't it? Why is the Congress stuck between the rock and the hard place? Because you see hardly any comment is coming from the Congress in this regard. Just day before yesterday, Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav made a statement saying he stands by Stalin. Tejashwi Yadav says nothing doing, we should have delimitation, Bihar should get more seats. Is it the confidence that I can win those seats that makes them say this?
So, again, it boils down to the same question again. The way this country has been, organized in terms of states. Sureshji, if you go back into our history, take last 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 years, whatever parameter you want to fix. We never, ever had one administrative setup for one language. It never was there. For instance, take your own state of Kerala.
Correct.
Kerala had 3 kingdoms, as recent as whatever before the merger with the Indian Union, right? Look at ours, look at Kakatiyas. They had part of Maratha, Kannada, Odisha, Tamil, they had everything under them. Look at Cholas. They went right up to Bengal and where not, right? Show me one kingdom which had the whole of a particular language in them. We never had it. So it was always multilingual.
Maybe Marathas?
No.
They also went to Tamil Nadu.
No, they went. Tamil Nadu, you see Tanjavuru and all. In Karnataka, part of northern, that's a dispute of Belagaum and all. You know what's happening there. So it is always that. It's always a mixture of all these things, right? When this concept of linguistic states were formed, that sowed the seeds of separatism. Now, look at the Kannada movement, look at the Tamilian movement. All these have come up because of all these things. So the rest of it is all politics. What Stalin is doing is just mere politics. The language issue is not there in Telugu states, but it is very much there in Kannada states, right, and Tamil Nadu. Here, because one language is split into two states, probably it is not as strong. It is more of a family and perceived injustice or whatnot. Show me one state in this country who is not having some grouse or other.
Everybody has.
Everybody has some grouse, right? So it's not unique to Telangana or unique to somebody else. This is common everywhere. It's a political move that you exploit that particular so-called depravity or whatever shortcomings, and then create a certain movement. The point is, all our argument is based on a presupposition that the existing state should continue, right? When you are saying it's a federation or whatever you're talking about, where are the states? There are no states. The states are at the whims and fancies of the center, right? Uttar Pradesh under Mayawati passed a resolution, please break up my state into 6 states.
Bundelkhand and everything else.
Whatever. Haritha Pradesh or whatever. She gave some list.
It makes sense, isn't it? I mean, administering a state like Uttar Pradesh, 6 European countries put together?
Yeah. See, but my point is, it's a larger picture. She proposed to bifurcate it, whereas the center rejected it. They did not bifurcate. The state of Andhra Pradesh passed a resolution, don't break us.
And we broke it.
We broke it. Right? And the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh never asked for a union. Of course, Ladakh asked for a union territory status. Jammu and Kashmir never asked for it. You degraded them and made them into union territory. Who has the powers? Center has every power. They can make, break, they can do whatever. They can do all kinds of khichdi. Right? And is there some logic? Is there consistency in the way they are doing it? No. Look at Yanam, which is near Kakinada. Why should it be voting for Pondicherry?
It was a French territory at one
time. Why? What for?
It.
Why can't it be part of Kakinada? Done away with it. Why do you need Pondicherry to be different? Why can't it be part of Tamil Nadu?
Mahi in Kerala is a part of Pondicherry.
Yeah, and look at Daman and Diu. They're in Gujarat. Why should it be part of Goa? So my point is, because of this is all done 75 years back or whatever it is. Now is the time for us to relook at the way we're going to organize our country. I come to that.
You're saying that before delimitation, split the states into smaller
units? Absolutely. We need to do state reorganization first. Come up with some formulas. For instance, Gautam Desiraju Garu is a Kannada man. He has brought out a book. Correct. He's the same gentleman. He's written a book called Bharat India 2.0. Right? His videos are also available, and I really appreciate the way he thought about it. So his logic, his argument is, we have roughly 150 crore population, roughly, right? Give or take this way or that, 150 population. He says, create a state for every 2 crores.
But then your cost will go up dramatically, isn't it? You need a chief minister, you need a governor, you need assembly and what not.
Fair enough. The point is, while administration costs could technically be looking a little heavy, but your service delivery, your representation increases significantly. Then this problem will not be there. Today, if Yogi Adityanath goes to Delhi, and if, let's say, Chief Minister of Pondicherry goes there, who gets more respect?
Obviously.
So, in this situation where you have 75 states with 2 crore population, everybody is equal. So, if 2 chief ministers go there, both are on equal footing in Delhi. And the Prime Minister or whoever is going to be the ruling at the center, they cannot be like what you said, it cannot be UP who is going to decide a Prime Minister. It's it's actually the will of so many individual states collectively represents in whoever is going to rule from Delhi. It will not be dictated by Bihar and UP alone. Then the people like Stalin or anybody cannot have any grouse. Because even Tamil Nadu will split into probably 3 or 4 states.
That is where the opposition is going to come. As we close this conversation, Giridharji, delimitation in terms of you saying break the states, maybe that's a far cry. It may not happen because you know how India functions. But more importantly, when you look at this bag of things that you mentioned, your HDI, your TFR, and then your population, and maybe something else, do you think we need to mix and match percentage of each of these and then go ahead and do the delimitation?
Yeah, of course, we need to do something like that. But like what I said, when a tumor is growing inside and before it turns malignant, before it becomes a cancer, you need to first address that. Suppose you are only trying to put, a plaster bandage on it, and you're trying to give, cosmetic kind of a reaction to it. In the long run, you're going to have much significant challenges. Now, you see the kind of separatist ideologies which are coming. Already people are saying South has to be a different country. We are producing more wealth, so North is eating away our money. All projects are going to Gujarat, nothing is coming here. Look at the kind of arguments that we are already listening to. And some quarters we are also listening to certain arguments like you created a different country for Muslims. So why not for Christians? So from Tamil Nadu coast till Nagaland, we need to have a Christian country. So all these things are going to have a huge amount of fillip. They're going to have, some grouse they can create and do all that nonsense. The point is, the moment everybody is on equal footing, UP cannot be higher than some state in Tamil Nadu, and language is not the criteria. You look at one major urban conglomerate, look at 2 crore population around it and make it into a state. Or that's his proposal. Maybe you look at 3 crores, 4 crores, 5 crores, whatever it is. When you reorganize it in an even way, in a very, thing which is not going to suddenly put somebody on a higher pedestal and somebody at a lower pedestal, then these grouses will all be gone. The question of separatism won't happen. Everybody will have a very similar representation at the center. It is the will of all of these together which reflects there. Nobody can claim that I can be a chief minister, I can be a prime minister if I can win 2 states. That is gone. So we need to, that is his proposal. All I'm saying is one needs to look at the reorganization first. We need to reorganize our country for a long-term survival, long-term existence. These, fissures that we have, they can go into deep canyons. We should stop it now. Second, yes, we need to look at other parameters, just not population. It could be HDI, it could be your contribution to the exchequer, and these parameters. We need to look at it. And then South cannot survive on its own if it doesn't have the support of the North. North cannot survive on its own if it doesn't have a support of the South.
People migrate from here to there also. The number of Keralites who work outside Kerala are more than the population of half the population of Kerala.
Absolutely. Not just that. After the partition, we are suffering and the partitioned parts are also suffering. It's like you're cutting off blood supply to one part of your body. If you go and see the entire industries, the headquarters were all in Kolkata, whereas the producing jute fields were all in today's Bangladesh. So once you cut that off, neither Bangladesh could flourish nor Calcutta. See, Kolkata declined after that. Where are we today? Same thing in West Pakistan also. The industrial belt of Punjab was split in such a way that, they could do nothing about it. Look at the way Sindh has gone. Look at the way water crisis they have. Today, Pakistan is going to have the biggest crisis, internal crisis because of water.
We stopped it. We turned the tap off.
Not necessarily. I wish we stopped it off. I have a different take on it. 1960 Indus Water Treaty, we had a right of roughly 10% on the western rivers. We are leaving out more than 8% of it. 2% only we are utilizing. Whereas even on the eastern rivers, we had a right of 90% on it. We are only utilizing about 70%.
Maybe that's a topic for another debate. I think interesting because not many people would know about the Indus Water Treaty.
Yeah, my single point here is we are a breathing body. When you start isolating things for your political gains, some parts of your body will get gangrene. That needs to stop. That is when your people's representation next step happens. Like you add HDI, you add TFR, you add your contribution to the country.
Density of population.
Density, all these things, right? If Mumbai is contributing roughly 10 to 15% of your GDP, should their voice not be heard better than the rest?
Yes, surely.
So these parameters have to be taken into consideration. I don't think we have a magic wand, but a team of concerned experts should sit together, come out with a formula. You could call it Khichdi, or you could come with some formula which respects and accepts the diversity of this country and gives equal representation to all the parts of the country which are otherwise either less represented or not represented.
All I know is that Modi ji has managed 830 odd seats in the new Lok Sabha, in the new building that has been built and where the parliament is now functioning. Possibly that's an indication of where the final numbers would land up. But Giridharji, wonderful speaking to you as usual. I'm sure that this is a big thing to handle. It's not as simple as sitting across the table with 10 people and deciding it. It has to be far more stretched. One cannot go from Stalin to Akhilesh Yadav or Tejaswi to, say, Devendra Fadnavis. It's a different thing. I mean, this is far bigger than one nation, one election. I think so, in my opinion. But I'm sure that there is a way this has to be done. We cannot push this under the carpet anymore. As they say, have it in 2056. You are just postponing the inevitable. That's what is going to happen. I think that way you have given wonderful suggestions. Let us look at it. Let us debate as we go along. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Giridhar Mamidi ji in conversation with me. And I'm sure most of you would have found a lot of elements from this worth talking about. Do let us know by way of comments as to what you liked about in this debate. And of course, keep watching for more of this. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.